I got you, Gator.
Oh shit. All right. All right. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. 2018, Adam. Hey, yeah, you keep doing this. You keep throwing popcorn my way. You might end up, one of my least favorite friends. I don't know if that makes sense, but you keep doing this, and you gonna be on your way. You gonna be on your way, man. But I appreciate you though. So I got mines. You already know I got mines, right? Which one? What kind is this? Classic butter and sea. Get this nasty ass shit out of my fucking face. Are you fucking serious? We're supposed to start off the year 2018 strong, right, straight, no playing games, no BS, and then you hit me with this. Adam, you got one more time. What the hell was that? Okay, that was, y'all heard that, right? It was like a that was, there was no effects, no sound effects or anything. I ain't putting nothing, like, that was weird. The bag kind of made sounds on this. I'm not doing this to myself tonight. Nope. But I got the real deal. The real Adam. Come on now. Come on. I thought we was here. I thought we was here. Apparently not. Oh. Would you look at that? Butter on right here. It's butter. Mm. Let's get it. Sup, Zo. Okay.
My name is Ethan, and I'm a photographer.
Right.
I took a trip last year with my wife to the Colorado mountains for an art project. My wife is also an avid skier, so she talked me into adding skiing into the trip. We had the option to book a room at a ski resort or rent out a private log cabin. The second one seemed more romantic, so I picked that one. Plus, it didn't hurt that it was cheaper. The cabin was nothing luxurious or anything. It was a single-floor, 4-room little thing.
Right.
A 2-person bedroom, a small living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. It may have been small, but the actual idea of being secluded in a warm log cabin during a blizzard was amazing. However, the storm was interfering with the cable signal, so we didn't have much to do this one particular evening. It was just starting to get dark out at this point, but there was still a decent amount of light outside, so I thought it would be perfect for getting a few shots and videos in the blizzard for backgrounds and wallpapers. I told my wife I'd be back within 10 minutes and slipped on my boots and coat. The moment I stepped outside and shut the door, I noticed footsteps leading up to the door in the snow that had blown under the wooden awning.
Hey. First of all, I just want to say, damn it, popcorn. You already know I seen like this first story animated, so it's not, excuse me, just throwing it out there. But this is the hell. This is a complicate. Wow. Hold on. Talking too fast. I'm hella hype right now. All right, slow down, calm down. I already seen this. This first story animated, so that's like nothing special. So whatever's after that, is kind of But baby, baby, are these your footprints? No. Oh, okay, it's not mine. And we the only two mofos here. So where the hell did these come from? Okay. Okay, here we go. We playing already. Baby, I'm gonna need you to pack up and let haul it. No, don't ask no questions. Let's just go. Let's just go. And you can ask questions once we safe and sound. Just saying.
See, the prints doubled as whoever left them there turned and went the opposite direction. I was freaked the fuck out, but I wasn't about to go inside and scare my wife. I decided to give in to my curiosity and followed the prints to the right side of the cabin. Right away, I noticed that they led to the bedroom window. My heart froze in fear when I saw this. I could see my wife sitting on the bed using her iPad. She noticed me and I waved. She laughed. I continued to follow the footprints around the cabin to the other side. They led to the living room window on the other side. Someone was stalking us. But how long ago was the question?
Nope.
I found myself standing there for a good minute asking myself if I should follow the footprints anymore. For whatever reason, I decided I would.
Man, you playing.
They were now leading away from the cabin. I knew I was following the prints to where this person was going, not coming from, simply by the boot marks. I followed the prints away from the opening and into the trees. That was where I saw him. A man wearing a black coat facing a tree, slouched down looking at the ground. He was still as a statue, and I could see the snow piling up on his hood and shoulders.
No.
I froze in my tracks, trying not to make a sound. I would have thought to ask him if he needed help otherwise, but this guy was just standing there, not doing anything, like some kind of deranged freak. I started to gradually move backwards without even turning around, making sure this man didn't turn around or notice me. When I got at a visual distance, I turned around and stomped through the snow back to the cabin. When I slammed the door shut, my wife came over to see what was wrong. I saw worry in her eyes. I guess she saw the worry in mine. She knew I saw something, and after a few minutes of harassment, I finally told her what I saw. She immediately started packing her things, telling me we're leaving right away. I told her no, we're not going anywhere. I would not get a refund for leaving early, and I wasn't about to up and leave just because some weird guy was walking around outside.
I would.
She made a point of locking both locks on the door and making sure all of the windows were sealed shut. For the rest of the night, we read stuff on our iPads. I reviewed the pictures and videos I had taken so far. We turned out the lights early as there wasn't much else to do. What if he's still out there? I remember my wife asking me. There's no way he's still out there, I then assured her. Listening to the wind blowing outside, along with the small flakes of snow hitting the windows, was strangely relaxing, and I knew I'd be able to fall asleep quickly. Except if it wasn't for...
See?
The knock at the bedroom window. We were both still awake, and we both knew it was a knock from a person. I ushered my wife out of bed and out into the living room without turning on any lights. There was nothing to use as a weapon whatsoever. Our only option was to run before something might happen. I told my wife we'd have to forget our luggage and make a dash for the Jeep. We slipped on our boots and coats in the dark in a matter of seconds, and when we heard a knock at the living room window from the opposite side of our car, we took that opportunity to run. I pressed the unlock button, so grateful I chose to have remote locks on my Wrangler, and we hopped in. The car started with ease, and as soon as the headlights flashed on, the man was standing facing the log cabin on our side now. Not a window, just facing the wall of the cabin in the same position I had seen him in earlier, as if he were hiding his face. We drove to the nearby ski resort without much trouble in the Jeep. We stayed there for the night and went back the next day to the log cabin to collect our things we left behind. He wasn't there.
I saw him in the window. Somebody pointed that out when I first reacted to the animation of this.
I'm 27 years old. I live alone in a rural town in Virginia, about 2 blocks away from my parents.
Okay.
My parents are both in their 60s, and my mom has become a very worrisome woman in her old age. Sometimes she walks over uninvited and lets herself in, since I had regrettably given her a key, which can get a bit annoying. Like if I would be out really late on weekends at a bar or with women, I would sometimes come home to my mom sitting in the living room waiting, worried sick. I know you may just think, oh my god, that's crazy, why not just put your foot down and tell her to stop? Well, because you don't know my mom. It's very hard to describe her, but she's the kind of worrisome, innocent little lady that you just can't bring yourself to go against. And I hate to mention, she also has mild dementia. Anyway, this was Saturday night. I think it was around 2 in the morning. I was at a nearby club with a group of college friends, really the only place to hang out in this boring town, and I was getting ready to head home. I said goodbye to all my friends and walked the 3 blocks it took to get back to my house. I walked up my front stoop in my drunken haze and dug my hands in my pocket for my keys. When I grabbed the doorknob, I realized it was unlocked. My mom was here again. I quietly opened and shut the front door, locking it behind me. I put my keys on the kitchen counter and found a note written in my mom's handwriting saying, "You forgot this at our house, next to the box of half-eaten cake my parents didn't want." I didn't see my mom anywhere, so I assumed she must have gone upstairs to sleep in the guest bed until I got back, which is something she would commonly do as well. Then I heard footsteps upstairs, confirming it, and that's when I sighed once again. 27 years old, almost 3 in the morning, and she still has to wait up and treat me like a child. I ran upstairs to check the guest bed, empty, along with all the bathrooms. I was afraid Mom was having one of her episodes due to her condition, so I ran to the phone to call my dad. After 4 rings, my dad picked up in a groggy voice, asking what the hell is the matter. After I told him that I heard Mom wandering around upstairs in my house, there was a short pause, and then he said, "That's not possible, she's sleeping right next to me." My mouth fell open as I turned my head to face the dark upstairs, and just barely by the light provided by the kitchen, I could see a head peering around from the corner at the top of the stairs, looking down at me. I screamed into the phone as I ran out the front door and down the street to my parents' house, explaining to my father on the way. About halfway there, my dad told me, "Alright, I'm gonna call the cops," and hung up. I made it to my parents' house, where my mom was already waiting at the door, worried sick. My mom explained that she did come over to clean my kitchen a little bit and to bring over the cake they didn't want. 2 police cars pulled up in front of my parents' house, where they escorted me and my dad down the street to my house. 1 officer stayed outside with us, while 2 others went inside to investigate. It felt like 15 minutes before they came back outside and said it was clear. They checked the crawl space, the attic, everything. There was really nothing for me to report, other than the door was left unlocked and I saw the outline of a head upstairs before I ran for it. Still, I didn't feel safe sleeping in there that night, so I went back to my parents' house. Me and my dad are certain that my mom simply forgot to lock the door when she left, as her memory has been getting worse over the past few months.
Forgot nothing.
My dad has been stopping her from coming over alone from now on, which makes me both sad but also relieved. Some nights, I still get paranoid that whoever was in my house that night never left, and is still hiding in here somewhere.
that got me. I need to know exactly who got these Jones, like who got...
It was a typical boring day in calculus, only it was Friday, 7th period, meaning the week was almost over and spring break would finally be upon us. So I
just realized what I said, and I said I need to know who got these Jones. What I meant was I need to know who got the keys, not DJ Khaled, but who got the keys to the house. Like, if it's just me and my girl, you know, that's cool. That's cool. But I'm gonna need to know if there's anybody else that's gonna have the keys, because I don't want to come home and I have some random person just chilling on the couch talking about like, "What's up, Gator? What's up? Nothing. Get the hell out of my house. Who the hell are you? Huh? How'd you even get in here?" Like, no, I need communication. I need my communication. That's all I'm saying, you know. And who has the keys to the house? That's it.
Everybody was getting antsy in their seats, I could tell. We didn't have a test that day like a lot of my friends did with their other teachers, so our teacher in the middle of class just decided to start playing games with us on Sporkle.com. He was a very laid-back teacher like that. As we were doing some brand logo quiz on Sporkle, I remember the exact moment it happened. Right after my friend answered a question, I remember the exact answer too, Adidas. The dean's voice came through the loudspeaker. He sounded panicked and frantic as he told all the teachers this was not a drill and to go into lockdown. I actually got the chills, and I got goosebumps on my arms as our usually laid-back teacher too seemed panicked as he ran to turn off the lights and ushered us to the back corner of the room. We all sat in silence for about 2 minutes, and then the usual buzzing that came from a panel in the back of the room ceased, indicating that the school must have cut all the power. We all looked at each other, realizing this must be serious. A few more minutes of waiting later, we heard a man screaming at the top of his lungs coming down the hallway. 2 girls in the class actually started crying, which made all of us even more scared.
Shut up!
As the screaming got closer to the classroom, the lunatic-sounding man started banging on the lockers while screaming, "I'll kill all of you." It was at that moment that I started to fear for my life. My teacher shushed us as we all looked at each other to see our peers' reactions.
You're not gonna kill me. You're not gonna kill me. You know why? Because I'm already gone. You're not gonna put me in the same space, in the same environment as a possible killer. Like, no, that makes no sense. Why would you lock us in a confined space, in a room, in a building that has the killer in it? That makes no sense. It doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's kind of rude. Oh, my apologies. But to me, that doesn't make any sense. You're gonna lock me in a building with a killer? Like, no. My school, like, wherever I am, like, we need to have security inside the building and outside the building. The security outside the building needs to be at least between a mile and like 45 miles out. That's all I'm saying. You know, I need to know in advance if there's a maniac, insane person, killer, whatever is on the horizon right now. So I need security inside the building and security outside the building, and that security that's outside the building needs to be within a mile to 45 miles out from the building. You know, like, I need time to run. Because if you tell me, chances are it's too late for you to tell me, and I can't do nothing. Like, come on. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. Just saying. Sometimes you can't think with your mind. Sometimes you just have to think with your feet. And just run. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with running. You know?
The banging then moved from the lockers to our classroom door. And that's when one of the crying girls screamed no.
Shut the hell up.
The banging on the door only grew worse as the man started screaming, "Open up."
Ew.
2 of the girls in the class were crying out loud now. It felt like an eternity that man was pounding at the door. But eventually, he finally continued down the hallway, screaming like a mentally insane person until we could not hear him anymore. I'd say 10 minutes later, though it felt like half an hour given the situation, the dean came back on the loudspeaker explaining the situation, which was surprising for him to do. He explained that some apparently mentally unstable person entered the building and assaulted the woman sitting at the front desk, causing her to flee the building screaming, and staff wasn't sure if the man was armed or not. Now, this was before the school had cameras or could afford proper security, so the school was wide open to something like this happening. The staff had done a sweep of all the hallways and classrooms and couldn't find him, so the dean instructed the teachers to resume teaching, but to keep all the doors locked. And
I just realized what he said. He said like they didn't have the proper security. What are you talking about? Again, with the making sense, it doesn't make any sense for me. Like you didn't have the proper security back then, but you could have had some. You could have had some motherfuckers out there being security guards. Like, come on, you need security guards inside the building and outside the building. What are you talking about? Like, you wasn't. How was it open? The only way it was open, the only way a person got into the building, right, if it was an inside job, or some motherfuckers wasn't doing a job. Like, come on, bruh. I mean, granted, we have security. We have, like, you know, top-notch security right now. But, like, even back then, there's always a way. There's always a way. If y'all didn't have cameras back in the day, right? Use real people as cameras. You know? Like, damn, bruh. Sorry. Oh my God. It's just some of this stuff doesn't make any sense. You know? Damn. Sorry, okay.
Not let any students leave for any reasons.
I already left.
The most disturbing part, however, is that one of the janitors working the night shift found the man sleeping in one of the storage closets near the back end of the school. And according to rumors that were spread by my peers, sticking out of his pocket was a .44 Magnum. The janitor must have done something stupid to wake him up. For example, leaving the closet door open, because by the time a police officer could arrive on the scene, the man was gone. My entire class, as far as I know, to this day, has no idea if this man was ever found, but I like to think that right now, he's being given the proper help that he needs.
I don't care. I'm changing schools. And school districts. And cities. And states. And countries. Just saying. Can't take that chance. Oh, hitchhiking. Oh, here we go.
3 months after I turned 16 in 2005, I got my first car, a '99 Toyota Camry. On a warm Saturday night, when my friend Alex invited me over to one of his friend's big parties, I knew I wouldn't be in a condition to drive the Camry home afterward. So we carpooled with Alex's girlfriend, Brianna. We lived in the countryside of Virginia, meaning less big parties. Meaning when there was a big party, it was a huge deal and everyone would go. We lived about 5 to 10 minutes away from this kid's house. I knew where he lived as I was acquainted with him, but not exactly friends. The whole ride there, we took the same 2-lane highway type road through the woods, and this kid's house was actually on this road further down.
Look at all those woods.
At certain points on this road, there were a few houses on either side, and then it would just go back to being a long, empty highway again. The house was tiny, like a lot of houses around the area, but the party was held outside anyways, since his closest neighbors were relatively far away, and noise wasn't an issue.
May I say, this animation is clean as hell, bruh. Like, kudos to, is it Llama Arts? Or, because I don't really know how you spell llama. So, is it Lala? Lum. Is the first L silent and it's just llama, or is it llama? Why? That's so confusing. How do you spell llama?
There are 2 words pronounced like that. L-L-A-M-A or L-A-M-A.
Why are there 2? What the hell? Why is it two spellings? I feel like there should only be one L in llama. Am I what? What? Okay, I just want to say, but it's I don't know if Llama Arts made. I'm pretty sure he did make it, but that animation, it's clean as hell. Mm.
I'll skip most of the party up until the point that Brianna, who was supposed to be our designated driver, had to suddenly leave for a small family emergency. Alex said it was fine and that we'd find a ride home.
What?
Well, fast forward another few hours and another few drinks, and I could barely even walk straight. I checked my watch, and it was like 2 in the morning. I figured it was time to go. I started looking for Alex, but I couldn't find him anywhere. In fact, it seemed like everybody I knew had already left. I could barely even think straight, but I was still furious at the fact that Alex could have actually left without me. I asked to use the party host's phone and dialed Alex's home number. After 2 tries, I gave up and then realized I shouldn't wake his family up.
What?
So, literally not knowing what else to do, I dizzily stepped out onto the road and began walking back home. I knew this walk would take anywhere from half an hour to an hour in my condition. Maybe after 15 minutes of walking down the road, the slight shine of car headlights on the road was fading in from behind me. Jumping for joy inside, I lifted up my arm and stuck out my thumb.
You better put that jump down.
As the car neared, it slowed down and came to a stop right next to me.
You playing?
The man driving the '98 Ford Explorer rolled down the window and asked where you headed. I told him my house was just down the road and beyond a right turn, probably slurring my words beyond comprehension. He chuckled and told me to hop in. I thanked him and joyously hopped into the truck. I was exhausted, and I remember completely disregarding things the guy was asking me because I was so close to just passing out. And that's what happened. The memories of being in that truck turned to a fog, as I'm sure I passed out. The next thing I remember, I woke up still in the moving truck. The guy looked at me and laughed, but didn't say anything. I looked around and realized the road we were on wasn't familiar. I nervously asked, where are we going? He then said, so what were you doing out this late anyway? As the man answered my very straightforward question with another irrelevant question, the sobering reality of the situation hit me. You can let me out anywhere, I told the man. The man responded with a firm no.
Okay, cool. Alright, cool. I'm gonna just let myself out. Lock, unlock, 2. There we go. Wait! Yeet! I'm literally forcing myself out the car. Just saying. Yeet. Unlock. Yeet. Just saying. You look like a creep. Look at that face. Wow.
I felt like throwing up as he said that. No, I really actually felt like I was going to throw up. I started to gag as I felt more and more nauseous by the second. The man took his eyes off the road to look at me, and that's when I thought of the perfect distraction. I turned in his direction as I continued to gag, and he started to kind of lean away and slow down the car. Thankfully, I drank as much as I did, because I finally threw up and made a point of doing it all over the man's lap.
Ew.
The man yelled in frustration and stopped the car, and that's when I took it upon myself to run for my life into the woods and duck behind a few bushes. The man came following into the woods with a flashlight, and on 2 separate occasions, he shined the light straight over me without noticing. Eventually, I heard his footsteps walk even further into the woods past me. That was when I ran back to his truck, but unfortunately, he was smart enough to lock it. By some miracle, I saw another car approaching in the distance, and I ran out into the middle of the street, waving my arms like a lunatic. The car tried to avoid me, but I wouldn't let it. They were forced to stop, and I yelled at them to help me before they came back. Once I told them that I was kidnapped by the man who was driving that Ford Explorer, the driver agreed to give me a lift. Not to the police station or anything, but to my house. I made it back safely, where I couldn't thank the driver enough. I immediately woke up my parents and told them. My dad wanted to know if I got his tag number, and then I felt like punching myself in the face. I failed to get the simplest information from the guy that would have allowed me to actually properly report him. All I knew was that he drove a faded blue '99 Ford Explorer. I made sure to give Alex a piece of my mind, and part of me always held a grudge against him ever since, just for abandoning me at a party without telling me. I haven't seen him in 4 years now, however, and this was actually the first time I even thought about this incident for almost a year now. As time goes on, even the worst of memories may start to fade, but after writing this to share with the internet, it's once again fresh in my mind.
You gotta be an idiot to hitchhike again after that first experience. I would have just walked home. Like, come on, bro. You tripping when you I'm sorry, that was kind of creepy.
A couple weeks ago, my dad came home and pitched me a small job offer. One of his coworkers was going away for a few days and needed somebody he could trust to watch over his house. The reason my dad pitched this to me was because the man's house has a big CCTV system, basically a camera in every room, and then an operating desk where all screens could be watched on a big monitor. And I'm a computer science major, so my dad just always assumes that I know how to work anything technological. The man told my dad that he'd pay me $200 for the 2 days just to watch the house. Whatever that meant. My dad drove me to the house and introduced me to the man, whose name doesn't matter. The man made it seem like he preferred I stay in the upstairs room with the monitors as opposed to roaming the house all day. That was fine with me, though. So when I wasn't eating, I was mostly just sitting in that room with the TV on in the background and doing schoolwork on my laptop. Ironically, the thing I was doing the least was keeping an eye on the monitors. Night came. I started wondering where in the house I should sleep, since surprisingly, we hadn't discussed that. So I sat back down at the desk and looked at all the different rooms on the screens to see which rooms had beds or couches. I noticed something I wasn't expecting to notice, though. The back screen door was open downstairs. I didn't remember it being open. I looked through each and every camera screen in a panic. In the living room, a closet door was open. This one I knew wasn't open earlier. I texted my dad to call the man and ask him if he came back home. Meanwhile, I continued watching the screen.
You better watch.
On the grainy, dark image, a tall person who resembled only a black shadow on the screen stepped out from the closet. I pulled my arms off the desk as I covered my mouth with my hands in shock. As I did this, however, my left elbow pulled some heavy object from the desk onto the floor, creating a big thud. The person in the image very clearly moved their head up to the ceiling as a response to the noise. They went for the stairs, walking up very, very slowly, step by step.
You playing?
Meanwhile, I got a text back from my dad saying, "No, he's not. I just spoke to him half an hour ago." Why? I got so caught up in my phone texting my dad to send help that I didn't even pay attention to the monitor. There was a knock at the door. I looked at it and then the screens. The first screen I laid my eyes on was the one showing the person outside the door to the room I was in. When I remembered that door had no lock, the only thing I could think to do was jump out the window into the bushes below.
Go, do it.
I ran halfway down the block and then stopped when my dad called me. I had him call his friend and ask him if he was expecting somebody in the house. The man said he had no relatives or friends who had his key or would ever let themselves into his home. So he called the cops and had them review the footage. I got to watch all of it, and it showed everything. From the moment the intruder broke the glass to the backyard door, to the moment I jumped out the window and him running away shortly after. The intruder was never found. The footage was just too dark to identify his face.
As soon as I seen that back door open on that monitor, I would have left. I would have hauled. He was playing, bro. I'm glad he ran, but he ran too late, though.
In the year 2009, I was spending a weekend with my uncle on his ranch when my parents were renovating the new house we had just bought.
Okay.
It was my second night there, a Saturday, and it happened to be during one of the biggest thunderstorms of the year. I'd say there were at least 3 crashes of thunder and lightning per minute. And we were in the heart of the storm, because the thunder would crash not even a second after the lightning would. I always enjoyed listening to storms while laying in bed. So I stayed up a little later watching TV, just enjoying the ambiance. After the movie I was watching finally ended, I turned off the TV and tried to fall asleep.
Oh my god! I hate thunder.
As I heard the lightning strike from outside, I could have sworn I heard some kind of metallic thud coming from outside at the same time.
No, you didn't.
I didn't pay it too much mind.
You better.
20 seconds later, I could have sworn I heard it again. A very distinct metallic thud coming from outside to match the timing of the lightning. I really don't mean to make this sound like a cliche horror story, but my uncle really is a kind of creepy guy, and I was never close with him, even remotely. So for that reason, I didn't feel right going to wake him up. I just tried to forget about it.
No, stop.
Now I was getting concerned. What the hell could that be? After the 3rd time, I finally got out of bed and walked over to the window of the guest bedroom. The water pouring down on the window made it extra hard to see what was out there in the dark fields. A flash of lightning momentarily lit up the property, but I couldn't see anything. However, once again, the sound of a metal hit accompanied it. The sound was so close now, it sounded like it was coming from the left of the window at a blind spot. I was going to do something I knew my uncle wouldn't be happy about. It would be a bit messy, but I was going to open the window and peer outside to see if I could see what the sound was.
You tripping.
I unhooked the window lock and slid it up, and immediately the wind of the storm blew drops of rain into the room and onto me. I stuck my head out the window and looked to the left, and at that very moment, lightning lit up the property once again, and I could see a person dressed in all black crouched down by the outside basement door with his hand raised in the air. And before the sky went dark, I caught the briefest glimpse of what the sound was coming from. The person was bashing at the basement door lock. I pulled my head in and quietly shut the window, making sure to lock it. I was in a panic. I feared he might have seen or heard me. I ran back to bed and pretended to be asleep, facing away from the window. Lightning crashed once again, but this time there was no metallic thud. My heart must have dropped as I realized this.
Oh.
I just stayed put in bed for the longest time, hoping whoever was out there would go away. After maybe 3 more lightning crashes without any thuds accompanying them, I thought it would be safe to go tell my uncle. I turned to face the window and screamed. There was a figure, clear as day, standing at the window, looking in at me. I screamed as loud as I could and ran straight to my uncle's room. He went outside with his hunting rifle with nothing on but his pajamas, not even socks. He ran around the entire property yelling like a madman, but didn't find anyone. The next morning, we were able to better see the marks on the basement door lock. It was almost bashed open. Maybe 3 or 4 more good hits would have done it, according to my uncle. He was proud of me for picking up on it. Luckily, I was out of there that same day. My uncle hasn't told us of any incidents since, so I think he's been okay. Not that we talked to him much at all. I'm grateful I stayed up a little later that night watching that movie, because I may have just stopped a robbery, or possibly much worse.
You got some bright eyes, bruh. Just saying. Like, you don't even need a flashlight. Use your eyes as flashlights. Oh my god! Yo! What is with these jump scares?
This happened a week ago. Up until a few days ago, I went to a small, local gym in my now previous New Jersey town called Black Bear Fitness. One day, I had the misfortune of running into some skinny, awkward, yet creepy-looking kid, probably 18 years old. He didn't look like he belonged in a gym at all. I had headphones in and I was doing my set when I heard him saying something to me, but it was muffled by the music. I was already annoyed with this kid, given that he was breaking an unwritten rule of the gym. Don't try to talk to somebody when they're doing their sets. I took my time finishing my set, and then took my headphones out to ask if he needed something. Then he started acting like I looked familiar, but right away I knew this kid was just trying some pathetic attempt at making friends. I assured him I didn't, but the kid wouldn't stop talking to me. I'll skip most of the conversation, but eventually he actually asked me for my Instagram and Snapchat, weirdly enough, and for whatever reason I gave them to him. Instead of just saying something like, "Buddy, I'm trying to work out," or "I don't have social media." After I gave him my Snapchat and Instagram, however, I did kind of urge him to let me resume my workout. He finally seemed to get the message and walked away. Not without saying bye like 3 times, though. That night, I got a snap on my phone saying "from Sean." I immediately sighed and said, "Oh no," just wondering why the hell the kid would snap me. I opened the snap, and the kid was in a creepy, weird pose, face way too close to the camera, with his head resting in his hand and a half smile on his face. The text over the picture was "Hey" with 2 Y's. I muttered the words, "What the fuck?" For the record, I'm a guy, which made this even more weird. My thought process was, I've had enough of this loser already. I'm gonna remove him and make it clear I don't want to talk if I see him at the gym again. And so I did. I removed him minutes after he sent that snap. I'm sure not even a minute later, again, a message popped up on my phone saying "Snapchat from Sean." I waited a few minutes before opening it. This one was even creepier. Now the kid was sitting up on his bed, no smile, more of a surprised, angry expression. The text over the image said, "Why did you remove me?" Now I went as far as to block him, meaning he couldn't snap me anymore. And that was that. I threw my phone on the desk and sighed out of relief. Half an hour later, my phone goes off, saying "Sean added you as a friend," and then Snapchat from Sean. He actually made a new account. I opened the snap and felt my heart drop. It was a picture of my front lawn. The text over it, "Answer me, bitch." The first thing I could think of was, how did he find my address? Then I realized, Snapchat made that new map feature that lets you see where your friends are. Somehow I had the balls to open the window to see outside. It was clear out there. I shut the window and the blinds and started considering calling 911. It was the sound of taps on the window. I took a deep breath, and with one swift motion, I pulled up the blind and the window at the same time and pulled the kid into my room by his neck. I punched him in the face a few times before he was out cold. Now I called 911. By the time they arrived, he was awake, cursing me out, promising he'd be back and kill me. The cops heard it all. I didn't even have to make a case. The kid was an idiot. Luckily, the timing of this worked out well because I just moved a couple days ago out of state. Only thing that worries me, I don't want to have to make a new Snapchat account, but anytime somebody new adds me on the app, I'll never know if it's secretly that Sean kid again.
Just make a new one. You better safe than sorry.
I was vacationing in the Bahamas when I was 14 with some family friends. My friend and I were getting some henna tattoos at the hotel, and there was this guy lingering around us. But we didn't think much of it because a lot of people would stop to see what was going on. After mine was done, I told my friend and her mom I was going to go back to the room to get ready for dinner. There were 2 ways to the other side of the hotel, either inside through a bunch of small stores or outside along the pool. I walked through the inside and got to the elevator, where I saw the guy who had been watching us already at the elevator. We got on together, and he gestured for me to choose my floor button first. I clicked it, but he didn't choose another floor.
Red flag.
Alarms start going off in my head. But what could I do? I was stuck in an elevator.
Red flag. You're thinking too much. Red flag.
The elevator stopped on my floor, and I started walking to my room. In this hotel, most of the rooms faced the ocean, so to the right in this hallway were just windows. I was in the very last room on that floor, and I could see the guy following me about 10 feet behind. About 2 doors from my room, he ran up and grabbed me. I kicked and screamed, and he dropped onto the floor.
You deserve.
I ran to the room and locked myself in. After talking with security and giving a description, they found the guy and found out that he had actually been following multiple younger women in the building.
As soon as that elevator opened, that's when you should have kicked rocks. That's when you should have ran like hell. But you want to walk all slow. What? That makes no sense.
Back in high school, I took a mysteries and mythology type class, or something like that. I don't remember the name of the class. It basically just had to do with real life mysteries and creepy shit. I was into that kind of stuff. I was taking the class with a good friend, who I'll call Ben for this story. The teacher of the class took us on a field trip to a nearby abandoned village with an unknown past. The village was built in the early 1900s, but seems as though it had been quickly abandoned shortly after it was built. The bus ride there was about 20 minutes. All of us were glued to the bus windows as we pulled up some sketchy-looking, decrepit road cutting through dense forest. The road eventually led to a clearing. We were there. We stepped out onto the road, which had grass growing through the cracks. The grass surrounding was almost knee-high. Then there were the buildings. The tall, archaic brick buildings with the boarded-up windows all gave off such chilling vibes. The teacher lined all 20 of us up, counted heads, and then began leading the way. The point of this little field trip was to use the so-called skills we learned in class to see if we could put anything together about why the village may have been abandoned so long ago. Some of the buildings had holes in the walls to serve as entryways. There were even holes in the ground next to some of the buildings, seemingly dug to get into the basements of some of the buildings, which seemed creepy. There was one building, though. It stood taller than any of the others. It just intrigued me the most. While the teacher was leading the group towards the village church, Ben and I decided to sneak off on our own to look for anything interesting. When we walked off in the direction of the tallest building, we saw a hole in the ground. It was dug by the back door of the building, which had been sealed off. In the hole was a ladder, which led down to the concrete floor below. We both looked at each other and knew we had to do it. Ben climbed down first, then me. Luckily, this was just around the time Apple started putting flashlights on their phones, so we had a source of light. It was creepy down there. There were a couple of beer bottles, one graffiti tag on the wall, and dusty wooden planks everywhere. There was a wooden stairway which led up to complete darkness, since all windows and doors had been sealed shut from above. We had already gone as far as to enter the building, so we figured we'd go up the stairs too. I went first, and with each step, the creakiness of the 100-year-old wood made me feel as if I was going to fall through each and every step. Ben followed suit. This floor of the building was very tight. It seemed like there were many openings going off into different, smaller rooms. It was so dark in there, you would never even guess it was daytime. Ben and I were honestly starting to get creeped out in there, and agreed to go back outside. But just then, there was a noise in one of the tiny rooms. Like a big rock hitting the concrete floor.
Nope.
A normal instinct would be to run, but Ben and I froze, locked eyes for a moment, then both tiptoed over to the opening of the room. We shined the lights into the room and ran.
Y'all are some idiots.
We ran back down the stairs and then up the rusty ladder back outside. We caught up to the group out of breath. We didn't say anything, though, to avoid getting in trouble. One of our classmates asked us what was wrong. We told him we snuck into one of the buildings. And in one of the rooms, when we shined the light into it, we saw 3 guys standing maybe 10 feet away from the doorway, facing Ben and I in a weird formation. as if they were waiting for us.
Chill with these sound effects, bro.
As we continued following the group, we paid extra attention to the tall building we entered from the distance. And before leaving, we saw a person's face at one of the higher level windows that had not been boarded up. We never told the teacher in fear of getting in trouble. We didn't know what to think. Were those just homeless people living in there? Were they gang members in hiding? Ben freaks me out with his theory. He says they were ghosts of the people who once lived in the town. Still, the way the three guys were just hauntingly standing there so calmly, staring at us the moment we peeked our heads through that doorway, I still can't get that image out of my head. I may go back to that village one day, just to prove Ben's idea wrong.
You don't need to prove nothing. You need to cut all ties with Ben. I'm mad he stopped it like that. I was prepared for a jump scare. I really was. It's the most beautiful time of the year. My eyelids are getting really heavy right now. Oh. Alright. Oh.
Last year on Christmas Eve, I was working late. I'm 23. I work in New York City and commute home every day on the train. Since I'm one of the younger ones in the office, I got stuck with one of the worst shifts, so I wasn't able to get home until 5 o'clock. My family had already left a whole hour earlier to go to my cousin's house, so I had to drive alone. After having a quick snack before the half-hour drive, I got back in my car and put my cousin's address into my phone. Halfway through the drive, it started snowing. I got to my cousin's house around 6 o'clock. It was snowing heavily by this point, and I just made it in time to catch everyone starting dinner. I brought all of my gifts inside and cheerfully said hey to everyone. I stayed until around 11 o'clock. The rest of my family left a little sooner. I stayed an extra half hour or so just to hang out before leaving myself. By the time I was leaving, the ground had accumulated at least 2 feet of snow, and it wasn't even done snowing. The drive home was nightmarish. The roads were hardly even plowed, and I had to drive under 20 miles per hour on most roads. The roads were completely dead at this point though, most likely because everyone was smart enough to go home before the snow accumulated. Eventually I turned onto a main road that I'm sure would usually be bustling, but at 11:15 on Christmas Eve night, there wasn't a single car or a single light from a store. It was a ghost town. But then I did notice the flashing taillights of one car. It was parked on the side of the road, and the smoke seeping out from its exhaust with the taillights giving it a red tint. As I got closer, I realized there was somebody next to the car waving their hand in the air. I assumed something was wrong and they needed help. So me
help! My you waving. Like, and if I was in your situation, I would have waved, but I would have waved as I'm driving by. Just saying. Sometimes, most of the time, you can't take that chance, you know? Because you have motherfuckers out there that want to cluck you up, you know? So you just don't know. You just don't know. So, as I see you, and as I'm driving by, I'm waving. I'm not waving and stopping the car. I'm waving and driving the car at the same time as I pass you by. And may God be with you on this night. Because I'm sure as hell not going to be with you on this night. Just saying. I don't know you. You are a complete stranger. It's snowing outside. Christmas Eve. And it's late. Dark outside. And we the only 2 motherfuckers out here. So I can't. No, bruh.
Good Samaritan I am. I pulled up behind the car. When I opened my door, the guy approached me immediately, barely even giving me time to step out.
Back up.
He was an average-sized man. Probably 5'10", 180 pounds. He spoke in a very demanding voice, asking me if I know anything about fixing an engine.
Nope.
I told him I didn't know much about cars. The guy responded very quickly to everything I said. He told me it's fine. He went inside of his car for a second, popped open his trunk, came back out, and told me to just wait by the trunk for a second.
Man.
I had no idea what he wanted me to do. I was really confused. He walked over to the front of his car, and I heard him open the hood. I couldn't see anything he was doing since the trunk was blocking my view, and the loud wind of the snowstorm overpowered any small noises he might have been making. I put my hands on the back of the car and leaned my body in anticipation, when suddenly I heard 3 or 4 quick and aggressive footsteps in the snow behind me before I was pushed into the trunk. The man tried to close the trunk on me, but I kicked my feet up in resistance and held it up. I was able to overpower him and kick the trunk open completely. As I took advantage of the few seconds I had to get out of the trunk, I took out my keys. He tried to grab me now, and I dug my house key right into his neck.
Hey!
He fell to his knees, and his scream echoed down the deserted street. I was in my car and halfway down the road before he could even get up from his knees. A little further down, I called 911 and reported the guy. I came back in 10 minutes to find blue and red lights illuminating the windows of the deserted stores. The police held him until the ambulance arrived for him. I watched the whole thing, and nothing ever felt better in my life. I got home safely half an hour later and told my family everything. I was still very shaken that Christmas, and this remains possibly the most horrific thing I've ever experienced.
Just saying, I just want to throw it out there. You might have killed that guy. I mean, you dug your key into his neck. What's the point of calling the cops? Like, I'm pretty sure he died. You know, I'm pretty sure you killed him. So that's on you. But hey, I'm not in your. I probably wouldn't have killed him because, like I said, I would have just passed you. Because come on. Because of that, what just happened? What just happened? You're not about to cluck me up the night before Christmas. You got me all the way clucked up. Just saying, bruh. There are certain risks. I'm sorry. It's just when your hair is braided or twisted or whatever. You can't really wash your hair, so it just stays like, damn. So all the stuff that's in your hair, the dirt and all that, it just stays in there. But there's certain things in life that you oh my God, that you just take a risk on, like, I don't know, like, it's certain things that you can just be like, I'm gonna wing it, or we play it by ear. And there are other things in life that you do not wing it or play by ear. You don't risk it. You play it smart, For example, a thing that you may wing it or play it by ear is you getting drunk with your friends, and you all know each other, right? But it's that one friend that you really feeling, like you really like that, and you all drunk, but before you get drunk, you have like a little talk to yourself, be like, me and her could have sex. We all would be a little tipsy. We may get, drunk. right? So things may happen. You know, we gonna play it by ear. You know, see, that's an example. You know, or like you playing Naruto Shippuden Storm, like you playing Storm 4, right? Shouts out to the Naruto fans, right? You playing Naruto, right? Storm 4, and you have an A team. You have an A team, you have a B team, right? And then you have like a random team that you just playing around with. Right. You pick your characters and you be like, I'm gonna wing it. I'm gonna play it by ear. You pick a bunch of different random characters and you fight in hopes you may win. But there are other things in life that you do not take risk. Like for example, right? You know what day, you know what time you go into work tomorrow, right? So usually I take the bus. Sorry, usually I take the bus. No. Usually I take my car to work, so I know I'm never late. You right? I leave by this specific time every day, so I know I'm not late. But you want to be all risky and whatnot, and the fuck, and you be like, I'm gonna take the bus today to work, knowing that the buses more often than not come on time. They almost never come on time, right? I know this because I take buses. I took buses a lot. They almost never come on time. They break down, right? Or like something else happens, like I don't know, like people want to act stupid on the bus, so we have to wait for you motherfuckers to just. It's just that, yeah, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Like, there are certain things in life that you take a risk on, and that you don't. You know, that you wing it or you don't wing it. You play it by ear or you don't play it by ear. You know, it's like you gotta know this stuff. Like there are certain certain things you should know, and certain things, yeah, it's like a trial and error. You know, so that's like I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you one more. That's like you drinking hella water before you go to bed, but like as soon as you drink the water, you don't feel like you have to use the bathroom, so you don't go to the bathroom. So as soon as you drink the water, you immediately go to sleep. But when you wake up, you pee it all over yourself, right? When in reality, you don't really drink nothing before you go to bed. So when you wake up, you know, there's no pee or whatever. You dry, you know. So just saying. Oh my god. Okay. Whew, wow. Did not see this compilation coming. I'm not gonna lie, were some animations that I've already seen, and there are some animations that I didn't see. So I just want to point it out. But yeah, keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my family.